Back in 2000, according to documents at a MTV VMA.
Oh yeah, we're back with another episode of The Twisted Tea, where we come to bring you the news with a twist. And today, we have what happened and finished taking place in the case between Jay-Z, P. Diddy, and the unnamed victim. That's right.
Jay-Z is being accused of raping a minor along with Diddy.
While everybody was partying, while everybody was playing, on Friday, the judge made a decision in the case against Jay-Z and P. Diddy. Before we dive into what the judge had to say about this case, let's dive into the case. That's right. This one is about that 13-year-old girl that wanted to see the VMAs. And in the case, she states that she traveled from upstate New York to Radio City, where the VMAs was taking place that night in the early 2000s. She also states that she was dropped off by a hitchhiker that drove her the 2 hours to make it. When she was dropped off, she states that she didn't have a ticket to get in to the VMAs that night, and what she decided to do was go limousine to limousine and chat with the drivers. That's right, she decided to chat with the drivers in different limos to see if she could get in. Now, the wild part to this is, out of all the limo drivers she stated she ran into, she remembers running into Diddy's limo driver. Yes, P. Diddy's limo driver, where he stated, "You look like you fit the description of what he would like," referring to Diddy for later. And then he told her that he would pick her up later on that night after dropping everybody else off at the mansion party. He'd come back, pick her up, and bring her there too. In the case, she states that that is what happened. She was picked up by the security guard, brought to the mansion party. They had her sign NDAs. Yeah, no, they had a 13-year-old sign NDAs. This is just what she stated. She said she was passed a drink. She started to drink, and that's right, she was 13. So when she started to drink, she said she felt woozy, a little out of it, and stated that she felt as though her drink had been laced. She decides to go up to a room that she felt like she could lay down in. While laying down in the room, the plaintiff states that she then started to see as Jay-Z, P. Diddy, and suspect number 3, who isn't named in the lawsuit, but everybody seems to think that that was P. Diddy's girlfriend at the time. That's right, Jennifer Lopez. Whether she was the person in the room or not, they didn't come out and state that. It just so happens to be that it stated that there was a female present watching this take place, and that female just so happened to be P. Diddy's girlfriend. And we know at the time P. Diddy's girlfriend was Jennifer Lopez. The 13-year-old states that as she was in the room, Diddy barged in and said, "You look like you're ready to party. Yeah, you look like you're ready to party." Yeah, boy. And stating that, Jay-Z came up, again, all allegedly, that Jay-Z came up and he started forcing himself onto her. And after he finished, Diddy began to force himself on her. This is what was stated while the female watched. Yep, this is what was stated. Now, 24 years later, we are here as this case has came to light. Back and forth action between the lawyers in this case for Jay-Z's lawyer and the lawyer representing the plaintiff has been a heated argument. You see, they have taken shots back at each other's personal lives, their reputations on the job. Jay-Z has came out to state that Buzbee, the lawyer for the plaintiff, has really just been trying to extort him.
Part, quote, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Buzbee."
That's right, and that they were not going for that.
What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny.
Also, while this case has gone on, Jay-Z's firm has went and did some digging in Buzbee's cases. And they have also found that Buzbee's office would not take cases from people who would not go along with what they suggested.
I'm way too important to be talking about extorting. Asking me for a Porsche's like asking for a coffin.
And their argument is they were forced to either pay up or Buzbee would file a lawsuit against him with what he claims are false accusations.
Jay-Z has taken the gloves off. He's taken this personal, as he should. He's been accused of raping a 13-year-old, and in his world, that's unabidable.
Now I'm just reporting to you what I've read and heard throughout this matter. The important part to this matter really comes in play when you realize that it didn't even make it to the judge to make a ruling in this matter. Because before it could happen, this case has been dismissed without prejudice. That's right, dismissed without prejudice. And for those who do not know what that means that this case has been thrown out of court. It cannot come back to court. She will not be able to file these claims ever again against these two individuals. Now, there wasn't much said in the proceedings to this, and there wasn't much in the court documents about it, other than both parties and all counsel have came to an agreement that this was the best decision. What we don't know is why and or how it got to this. We also do not know if they may have or may not have settled outside of court.
Nope.
It hasn't been listed. It hasn't been spoken about. I don't think they did settle outside of court.
Nope.
I just think that we have found more and more evidence pointing towards this being a potentially false story. That's right. And I say that because the victim in this, or I should say the plaintiff in this, the 13-year-old girl who was 13 at the time, went out to do an interview with the news networks about what took place. Here is some of the things she went out to state. After the network showed and aired her video, Jay-Z's lawyers went to work. And boy, did they start tearing pieces of this right away. They said, listen, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't make sense. And I was with them because I started to hear things that I questioned. I said, wait a minute, did you just tell me a 13-year-old hitchhiked 2 hours away from home, went to a VMA Awards looking to get in, couldn't get in, and found a limo driver to let him in to an after party instead? I said, I find it just a little hard to believe. Not saying it may not have never happened in life, but I find it hard to believe. Also, the lawyers came out and asked the question if the plaintiff, whom stated that at the award show she was meeting different people and seeing different people, one of the people that she put out there and said that she saw, his name is Benji Madden. Okay, for those who don't know who Benji Madden is, he's in a band called the Good Charlottes. She said she held a face-to-face conversation with Benji Madden. That's right. And Benji Madden came out and said it wasn't possible because I wasn't even in the state at the time we were touring. Also, the defense was a little confused, and I'm a little confused because,
at that point, I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, "I felt like I would remember that."
She came out and said that her father drove and picked her up after all of this, and they had quite a quiet ride home that was very uncomfortable. And you know, I step back and I say to myself, well, that would be something to remember. But her own father said, I don't remember that. I don't think it happened. And I'm just finding out about this stuff right now. So you know Jay-Z's lawyers went right away and said, wait a minute, let's get this figured out. Now, there were other things that went on in this case that showed a little bit of mishandling of everything going on, and that there were some potential lies inside of it. With that being said, it doesn't come as much of a surprise that this is taking place and that it was dismissed. Now, for Jay-Z, it's definitely a good thing and a win. For P. Diddy, he still has so much more to go through. But if anyone's paying attention, it will show you that out of this case, if it was dismissed, no one was paid, and well, Jane Doe may have been lying, it just goes to show that there may be more victims lying. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. There may be other people telling stories that don't make sense. And with that being said, we want you to keep an eye out on what's going on. Don't forget to keep your head on a swivel, because everybody out there isn't for your best interest. And thank you for tuning into an episode of The Twisted Tea, where we come to bring you the news with a twist.
Again, celebrities always take this track. What Mr. Buzbee's doing here, I'm sure he has done time and time again in the past, probably with success, and this time they're calling him out on it.